Okay, I do not have an intro for this podcast. I'm just going to start talking because if I overthink this, then I'm not going to record it. And I just feel like it's just one of those days we need to hit record and let go and let God. So this is me letting go and letting God because I do have things to say, but it's not going to be perfect. So bear with me. And it never is, right? So you're used to that anyway. But hi. Welcome to All In with Allie, the podcast for online business owners and entrepreneurs who are ready to create the life and business of their dreams. I am so happy you are here. And the first thing that I want to share with you is there are going to be days that you're not feeling it, okay? That's a given. That's just life. There's going to be actually many days where you're not feeling it. And there are going to be some of those days where the clear answer is to shut it down and try again tomorrow. That's going to be the strategy of the day. And sometimes that's the best strategy that you can have. And then there are going to be other days where the answer is to push through. And the answer is to surrender and remind yourself that it's never going to be perfect and you got shit to do, right? There's still things that need to be done, even when you're not feeling your best or your most brilliant or your most glamorous or whatever. And today is just turning out to be one of those days where things are not exactly going as planned. I personally don't feel my best. I'm good. I'm not sick. I was sick last week. We're going to talk about that. But like cognitively, I'm feeling a little rusty and I don't want to shut it down. I've been shutting it down for multiple days because I've been sick. So it's just like, I'm having to talk myself through and kind of coach myself to like, it's okay. It's not like it's never been perfect. It's never going to be perfect. I know this. And there have been so many times that I've done this in the past where I'm like, should we even record this episode? Should we even keep that episode? Should I even keep that piece of content? That's awful. Like whatever I just created, I know it's not my best. Why would I put it out to the world? And then that thing ends up, for whatever reason, resonating with the most people. It's the craziest thing. Like, let's just take it to the podcast for an example. I've shared this before. This is the God's honest truth. I've recorded now hundreds of these episodes. And there have been times where I've recorded episodes and I have a very short period of time to record. It's either do or die, right? It's either like you do it and get it out or you don't do it and you miss a week. And I'll do it and I'll put it out and I'll be super self-conscious about it because I know or I feel like that's not good enough. I stumbled over my words too much or the thought wasn't formed enough or I sound ditzy or I don't even know what I'm talking about or, whatever. Like I'm just feeling self-conscious about the message, but I decide to put it out anyway because that's my job, because that's what I'm dedicated to, showing up for you on a weekly basis, most weeks. And then 9 times out of 10, I kid you not, probably more than that, actually, I will get more positive feedback about that particular episode. And to me, this feels very much like a God wink. This feels very much like, hey, I didn't ask you to be perfect. Nobody's asking, like you're doing that to yourself. Your message, even in a messy way, is just as powerful, if not sometimes more powerful. So can you trust that and share it anyway? So last week, I had COVID, which is so random. I got it midweek and it put me out for 2 days. And it really was just like kind of a hardcore cold. And I'm great now. But I had a podcast interview today with Shoshana. She's Shoshana Raven on Instagram. And she's like one of my favorite people. I was in a mastermind with her. I've been looking forward to this day. And like in the interview, I'm talking and I'm like, oh my God, like what is wrong with me? It felt like my brain was moving so slow. It felt like I could not form a thoughtful thought. It just felt like my brain was not working. And I think this is a thing, like COVID brain, and I've had it once years ago, like 2 years ago. And I was like, is it? And it kind of hit me like, oh my gosh, this is part of it. And I didn't realize until I was in this interview, and I'm sitting there like in this interview face to face with one of my favorite people. And I'm like, what is happening? And of course, like I kind of wish I could go back and just own it in the episode, but there was really not an appropriate time to do that. And I didn't want her to feel weird. But also, I was so self-conscious in this interview. And I was just like, no, you can't. Because like one of the worst things that you can do during an interview is get caught up in your own thoughts. Like you want to be present and thoughtful and be listening, actively listening to the person. So I was able to do that, thank goodness. But once I got done, I was like, my gosh, how much better could that have been if my brain was firing on all cylinders, So I don't know. I share that with you because it happens sometimes. It just does. And again, you have the choice. Like, I guess I could have in the moment been like, pause the interview. And not only that, but we had tech issues in the beginning. And, it's just been an interesting lead up to this particular interview. And I could have been like, hey, let's just scrap this. And maybe that's what I should have done. But in my heart, it was like, no, we're here and I'm going to make the most of it. And I'm going to trust that whatever came out, and luckily she carried the whole interview, and she has so much to share and so much she's pure magic anyway. So she didn't even need me. Like I could have just pressed mute and she would have carried the whole thing, and she did anyway. So luckily that's exactly what happened. But I got to the end and I'm like, man, I kind of wish we had done that on a different day. But luckily we're going to have her back because we only touched the tip of the iceberg with what she's done and how she's done it. And, we have that kind of relationship where I know she will definitely come back, which I'm very much looking forward to. But I just felt like I needed to tell you that. I don't know, because I do know for one reason for sure is because, and we talked a lot about this in Shoshana's interview, is like telling the truth, being honest. And she's built a whole legacy and career on this, where she has been so brave in her business by telling the truth. And I can't wait for you to hear this episode and hear her story and how she got started and the truths that she did tell in her business. And that's all I'm doing here is just being honest with you. Like, this is sometimes what it looks like. Like, it's not all glamour. Like yesterday I was feeling on top of the world and I was doing a branding photo shoot and my makeup was perfect. And I felt like the baddest bitch on the planet. And today I'm like, man, what am I doing? I'm stupid. Who put me in front of a mic and how am I even doing, I'm so in my own thoughts and feeling self-conscious today. And that's just it. I mean, this is like, the line is so blurry, and I feel like I'm constantly straddling that line. And I've heard a lot of other people also admit to this. So I don't know if this is everybody's truth, but this is my truth most days. Like one day I feel like the baddest boss on the planet. And another day I'm like, if you ask me to tie my shoes right now, I don't even think I'd be able to do it right. Like that's how self-conscious I'm feeling right now. And you keep moving forward. And you keep reminding yourself why you're doing what you're doing, and you keep believing in your higher truth, which is, of course, you're meant to do this. And anything that says otherwise is not from our creator. And you just keep on keeping on. Okay. I can't even make that sound more inspiring. Like, that's where I'm at. Okay. I can't even tie it in a pretty bow for you. So just bear with me. But one thing that I do want to talk about, which is kind of on the same wavelength, is I want to talk about content and your content and really the way that I should have set that up if my brain was fully functioning is I want to talk about your number one job in your business today, which is your marketing. Okay. And I set it up like that because it is that important. And I do feel like there's a lot of people that are probably listening right now that do not take their marketing as seriously as they should. And they're seeing the results of that through their revenue. Like if you are growing an online business, if your goal is to grow an online business, your number one job, besides, okay, obviously, whatever your actual business is, right? Like if you're a health coach, okay, then the biggest priority is being the best health coach that you can be, and then creating offers and bringing in clients from there. So past being the best health coach that you can be, your number one job, your most important job is marketing yourself. More important than anything else. More important than creating offers, more important than creating a website, more important than all of that. Why? Because nobody will know about the offers. Nobody will see the website. Nobody will see the pricing that you spent days and days overthinking, or the beautiful branding colors that you hired that person to help you with, or whatever the thing is. Nobody will even see it if it's not first for your marketing. That is your most important job. So when I hear incredible women say to me, I hate creating content. I'm not good at creating content. It's just not for me. It's just not my thing. I kind of want to shake them a little bit. That's like saying, as a human, I'm not good at breathing. Literally. That's what it feels like to me. That's like you saying, you know what? I'm here. I'm like alive, but breathing is just not really my thing. You know, I see so many other people that are good at breathing, and I don't really love it. I wish I could find a way to be a human without breathing. And it's like, are you insane? You need to go check into the Looney Bin. Do you hear what you're saying? That's what it sounds like to me. When you tell me that you do not enjoy marketing, or you're not good at marketing, or you wish that you could just hand it off or whatever. And that's an option, right? Like if you have the resources and you genuinely, and by the way, let me finish this thought first and then I'll go off on another tangent. Of course, you can hire people to do your marketing. That's of course an option for you. But I will say that it has to come from you first. Like only you can know your mission and the type of message that you want to put out. You're the visionary of the brand and the business. Like you have to lead that ship. I personally, where a lot of people go wrong, and why when they hire marketing agencies or people to do their marketing, it ends up falling flat and it ends up not being a great return on their investment, is because they're allowing somebody else to dictate the mission and the message and the way they're letting somebody else lead and steer the ship. It's not their ship. So it ends up being disconnected because it's not from your heart, your soul. So can you run a successful business and hand off your marketing? Absolutely. People do it all the time. But I would say that there's got to be a marriage of the two, right? There's got to be a level of leadership from you where you can direct the person in how to support and how to articulate and translate your message in a way that supports you. Okay, I have something to share. This is so cool. And then I'll get back to what I was saying. Okay, so I'm recording this on 222. This is the coolest thing. I'm recording this on 222. This just so happens to be my favorite day of the year. It started with my grandmother. This was like her lucky number, and it was my mom's lucky number, and now it's like my thing. And I have it like the Roman numerals tattooed on the back of my neck, and it's my sister's thing. So we love today. Okay, sorry, I got a little distracted because I got a text, and I wish I could share. I can't share it. Maybe I'll share it in a future date. But anyway, back to what I was saying was, by handing off that job, which you totally can do, and there not being an understanding and you not allowing or giving, you not directing them with the direction that you want to go and what your true brand is that's authentic to you and where you're at right now, it comes off as inauthentic because that's somebody else painting and creating their art under your brand. it's often a mismatch, and that's why it doesn't work. So what I recommend is a total reframe here. We've got to reframe this for you. And by the way, if you are somebody who enjoys marketing, if you're somebody who enjoys creating content, this is great. And I invite you to stay and listen to this too, because I think that this is going to reinvigorate what it is that you do when it comes to your marketing and how you articulate what it is that you do for your clients. This is our job. This is what we do. I will tell you, I work with a lot of women, okay? And most of them will come to me and they have an issue because they feel like there's something, like there's a disconnect with the amount of money that they're making. And they have thoughts and reasons why they think that is. And a lot of these thoughts and reasons sound like my audience isn't big enough, or the wrong people are following me, or I need new offers, or my pricing isn't right, or I have mental energetic blocks, or, like it sounds a lot of like those things. Like I should be making money. I know I should be making this much. I know that I can make this much money, but I'm not because XYZ. And then I will go and I will look at their Instagram and there's no cohesion. Not that there necessarily has to be, but there's no passion behind what it is that they create. There's no magnetism behind what it is that they create. Like I look at their feed and it looks maybe just like a random personal person's feed, like somebody who's not even running a business, or it does look like they're running a business, but it looks very cookie cutter. And again, their content feels very flat. It feels very much like, okay, I have this thing that I need to sell and I need to say these words in this order. It looks like they're applying some sort of cookie cutter formula to their content. This is most of the people that will come through, or a lot of the times this is a situation. And I get to tell the person, hey, this isn't an audience problem. This isn't an engagement problem. Well, it is, but it's not for the reasons that you think it is. Your issue is not that you are blocked. It's not that you have some ancestral block on, a timeline 100 years ago. It's because you're not having a good time with your content. It's because you're perpetuating this story that you're bad at what you do. You don't enjoy it. You don't know what you're doing. Thus, you create really shitty content that translates nothing, right? That just completely falls flat. It doesn't resonate with anybody. So then, nobody clicks on your link. Nobody buys the thing. And it has you going in this mental cycle that's making you crazy. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to very honestly do something for me. I want you to right now, I want you to pull up your Instagram account and I want you to look at your feed. And I want you know how, I don't know if you do this. I do this all the time. I will go and I will look at my content through the perspective of somebody, maybe a stranger, or maybe like I do this a lot. This is actually a little tip. Pretend you are like the dreamiest client you could ever dream of, and then put yourself in their shoes and look at your content from their perspective. And then ask yourself this question: would you want to follow me? Would you want to follow yourself? Like if you were a stranger, if you were your dream client, would you want to follow yourself? And would you, after digging a little deeper, let's say maybe you read the top 3 posts on your Instagram account, would you hire you? Honestly. And I'm not talking about, I guess when I say dream client, let me be more specific. This is a dream client that you're like, holy crap. I can't imagine. Like it would be a dream to work with this person, but this would be like if this person came through your DMs, you'd pee your pants a little bit. You'd be like, like I think of some women that I look up to that I know that I could support because of what it is that I do, but I also look up to them. So they're just like like if they came through my DMs, it would feel so validating. It'd be like, amazing. We're going to like, this is a dream come true. You know, like I will look at my content through that perspective of if I was that person earning X amount of year, had, you know, X amount of credibility, like the thought leader in my space, like would I hire me to support them in these ways? And there are times where the only answer that I can say honestly is no. No, because my marketing is speaking to somebody who is so much more beginner than that person, right? Like who I'm speaking to isn't even in the stratosphere of where this person is. Or I've lost touch with my message. I've lost passion for my message. I've gotten in this kind of rut of like, oh, I just need to post something. Or okay, everybody's doing reels right now and everybody's doing this specific trend. So this is what I need to do because I've lost sight of the true goal, which is to connect and to serve and to give true value in my content. And instead I'm like, how do I get a quick sale? Or how do I grow my following? How do I go viral? These are very different goals here and we can combine them. You can absolutely want to serve very well and go viral, you know, but oftentimes we don't think about it from both angles. Oftentimes we lose sight. We're like, I just need to get a bit, you know, because again, we're looking at the wrong goal. We're chasing the wrong goal of, I need a bigger audience. So I need to go viral. I need to create content that's going to get me all these followers. But that's not even the issue. More people following the wrong person is not going to help anybody. You need to be the right person and you need to translate through your content how you are the right person for them. And the only way to do this is to reconnect yourself with who you're serving and what it is that you are doing and why you're doing it. The only way to do this and to do this well is to enjoy what it is that you are creating. That is the only way to do it. You want to go viral. You want to attract in that dream client. You want to really serve people, really connect, really have people come across your stuff, be like, oh my God, like she's incredible. And like put you on their vision board. You need to fall back in love with your message and what it is that you're sharing and believe that you are the person to lead that ship and lead that message and share that message. You need to think of yourself like an artist and you've got to stop wasting your precious time and energy with this shallow, dumb shit. Like, I only got so many likes on this post and this post got more likes and this post didn't and she's doing this and I'm doing this and everybody's doing reels and I don't want to do reels and I just want to do this and like, do you hear how ridiculous that is? And by the way, everybody gets caught up in this. Okay. This is normal. This is like such human shit. That's what it's so basic. We're so much bigger than this. Like this is what helps me. Okay. When I get caught up in the cycle of like, so many people just unfollowed me, or last month, I was getting this many likes and now I'm getting this many likes. Where did I go wrong? Or my engagement is down in my stories. And, like when I get caught up in that, like, it's so boring. And the only word that comes to mind that like really nails it is it's just basic. It's so basic. When I get caught up in this is my cue to zoom the frick out. Zoom out. You are bigger than this. Do you think God put you on the planet to be stressing out over how many likes you get on your content? Do you think God wants you to be overly concerned and stressing about who unfollowed you this month because of something that you shared or did or whatever? Do you think you're that fragile to where like any of this shit actually matters? Be for real. Because by hearing a lot of you and like hearing the thing, like I'll do a live, or a lot of times I'll ask you like, what questions do you want me to answer? And the questions will be, and I get it. Like when I tell you, I fully, I get why we do this, but the questions are so shallow and surface. Like, again, how do I increase my engagement? How do I grow my followers? How do I get more people to respond to blah, blah, blah? And it's like, we can want those things, but you've got to be mindful of how much energy you are pouring into the wrong freaking focus. You're going in the wrong direction. And I can promise you this, the faster you're able to kind of like, again, zoom out, recalibrate, remind yourself that like what you create in your business is not limited by the number of likes you get on something. Like the two are totally independent, and you need to hear that too. And one of the things that I talked about with Shoshana actually that made me so happy to point out, she has had $1 million month. Like she has touched multiple millions of dollars in 1 month, which is to some people unfathomable, you know, and it is like unbelievable results. She currently has 17,000 followers. And she said, actually, in the past few months, she's seen a ton of growth. She's doing like, I don't know what she's doing, but a lot of that is new recently. And she's hitting these results that are just like, kind of makes your head want to explode a little bit when you really think about it. And it's like, go look at her likes, go look at what she's doing. And at the end of the day, if you're growing a business and you want it, like that's what most of us want. Like if I were to ask you, why are you doing what you're doing? Why did you become an entrepreneur in the first place? What is it that you really want? You wouldn't say to me, I want to average 3,000 posts or 3,000 likes on my content. That's not what you want. You can also want that, but ultimately what you want is you want to make good money. You want to live a beautiful life. You want to actually serve people in the way that you set out to serve them. You want to make a true difference. You want to create financial and time freedom. You know what's not in there? The amount of people commented on your shit, the amount of story views you're averaging every single day. So when I see people like Shoshana, and there are countless other examples. We can go find them right now, every single day. They're in front of us all the time. That's proof that these things are independent of each other. We can have them both if you want to, and that gets to be a goal of yours. But you have got to be self-aware enough to where you are catching yourself when you are putting way too much energy into these arbitrary, pointless metrics. Unless you are an influencer where your job is to hit a certain amount of engagement and links, like that link clicks, that's one thing. That's different. But if you're not, you've got to be aware of that. And you've got to disconnect yourself, because it's one thing, like it's bad enough to spend a ton of energy on that and to waste a ton of energy and then tell yourself that what you're doing isn't worth it. But it's another thing because you're not hitting some arbitrary number of likes or whatever. But it's another thing to limit yourself, to actively limit yourself because of these arbitrary metrics, these weird benchmarks that maybe somebody did tell us to set because they're selling something or whatever. But they mean nothing. They mean absolutely nothing. And I see too many people do this to themselves. I see way too many people tell themselves that what they're doing isn't good enough or it doesn't matter because they're comparing themselves to somebody else who has an insanely engaged audience because that's what they've built over time. So we need to zoom out. We need to disconnect these two things. Sales over likes, always. And we've got to relight the fire for what it is that we are sharing and how and why. How do you want to serve people through your content? How do you want people to feel when they come across your feed? And how do you want to do that? Do you know, like, I can't remember the last time I posted a reel. It wasn't like too long ago. And I'll post reels on occasion, but like, I've made thousands and thousands and thousands. I've made millions of dollars in my business, mostly through posting static content, like the old school way with a static photo. Could I also do it through reels? Yes. But I enjoy writing. That's my favorite way besides the podcast. When it comes to Instagram and socials, my favorite thing to do is write. Like something about me writing my captions, it hits. It's fun for me. It makes me feel alive. What is that for you? That might be speaking for you. It might be doing, cheeky reels. It might be being silly. It might be doing skits and teaching through skits. But you've got to figure out what your favorite way to communicate is. Because when you can figure that out and pair it with your intended message, and on top of that, your intended energy, and infuse it with an energy of this matters, people will listen. People will read what I'm saying, or read what I'm writing, or listen to what I'm saying. You are going to notice night and day results. The amount of people that I've talked to where they're like, should I even write caption? I don't think anybody reads captions anymore. And it's like, are you mad? What do you mean? Of course people read, maybe they're not reading yours because you don't believe in yourself enough. So your content is totally riddled with insecurity. So I want you to imagine this. Imagine really believing nobody reads captions anymore. Imagine that. It's been proven. Nobody reads captions. How much time and effort are you going to put into writing a decent caption? None. You would be insane to put any effort into it. So that's what people do. They're like, nobody reads captions. Like, who cares what I have to say? So they end up putting some basic, lame, shallow caption, if anything at all. And then what does it do? It perpetuates this belief because nobody's reading that. If they are, they're certainly not commenting because it's totally like there's no energy behind it at all. And then it reaffirms this limiting belief that nobody gives a shit what somebody's thinking or saying, or that nobody really reads captions. I am here to tell you that couldn't be further from the truth. Do you know why people read my captions? And when I say people, I don't even know how many people, but I know some people read them. Why? Because I always have a call to action at the end of it. And many people do the call to action, or they'll comment on something that I'm actually saying. But that's not why I'm writing the caption. I'm writing the caption because I need to write the caption, because the caption is my art, because I've got to get it out of my body. That's how much I believe in it. And then people just happen to engage. People just happen to respond. But I know the reason why. It's not just because some people read captions. It's because I have infused that with service and passion for what it is I do. People are magnetized to my captions because I actually care what I'm putting in there, and I put thought into it. Sometimes I will spend an hour writing a caption if I need to, if that's what the message requires. That's how much I believe in what it is that I'm doing. Do you believe that deeply in what it is that you're doing, that you're willing to dedicate up to an hour to write a caption? There are some days where, we need to press pause and we don't have the time for that. But hopefully you hear what I'm saying here. It's the level of belief and energy that makes people want to hear what it is that you're saying. And a lot of you are trying to get people to listen to something that you don't even care to say. A lot of you are getting hung up on the fact that nobody's listening or paying attention when you don't even care, when you wouldn't even listen or pay attention to what you're saying right now, because you're so disconnected, because you lack the belief in what it is that you're doing. You fix that, you are going to shift your whole entire business. That's how important creating content is. It is your number one job, your number one job. And people that do it well, it's not because they're doing it a certain way. It's not because they're applying some formula or whatever. It's because they're having a good time and they believe in what they're actually putting out there. Are there some exceptions to the rule? Of course. There are people who apply formulas and they use AI and whatever. Those are rare exceptions to the rule. But if you believe the truth, which is sales are more important than likes, this is the way to do that. You need to reconnect yourself as an artist. What is your favorite way to create art? How can you do this? And it doesn't have to be, I don't want to throw you off with like, sometimes it takes me an hour to write a caption. It doesn't have to be like this long inundated thing. And the more you do it, the easier it gets sometimes. But it starts with just like the excitement to even say the thing. Go look at your content and be honest with yourself. How many pieces of content felt like a chore or just felt like something that you were checking off a to-do list because you know conceptually that you probably should do it, and we're wondering why the sales aren't adding up? This is your content is your sales catalyst. It can be your greatest funnel. It is your greatest funnel. You got to treat it like it. Okay. So what I recommend, your call to action today is go look at your stuff and be so brutally honest with yourself. Would you follow you? Like, look at it. I want you to look at it through the perspective of a stranger and then that like ultimate dream, holy shit client. Would you follow you? Would you want to work with you? If yes, why? If no, why? And how can we fix that? And then if you are somebody who is disconnected from the type of content, I would ask yourself, how can you make this more fun? Maybe it looks like once a week you treat yourself to like, going to a gorgeous hotel in the area and getting a $10 coffee and just putting yourself in the vibe and cranking out as much, like just allowing yourself to crank out as much as you can while you're in this beautiful space. Maybe it looks like allowing yourself to play and create in a different way. Maybe you have been trying to put yourself in this box of doing reels because that's what everybody else is doing. And you think that that's the only way. And maybe you try a different way. Maybe you tried doing just lives and reposting the lives or typing most of your message like I do. But what would be a fun way for you to create again? And then how can you dedicate yourself to this to be consistent? Those are the questions that I would ask. And I would really look into. That's how important this is. So I've created a class called How to Create Killer Content That Sells. As you listen to this, I've already taught it. But it is part of LFG, the membership, and All In, and you can buy it separately. So if you want to go deeper into this, you can purchase, and we'll link it in the show notes if you want to get the recording of it. And it'll be a big deep dive for you. And the way that I'm teaching this is both strategy and energetics to me, like to create killer content that truly sells for you, that pulls in thousands and thousands of dollars. You got to have both. You've got to enjoy doing it. You've got to believe in what it is that you're saying. You've got to be speaking to the right person. And there is strategy to it for sure. So we cover both of those. But for now, I think just asking yourself those questions, like even if you don't want to go deeper, that is going to be a huge eye opener for you. And it's going to point out some areas that you can absolutely improve, which means that you are improving your sales and your revenue. Is that not worth it for you? I think it is. So I hope this was helpful. I hope this resonated with you and supported you in some way. I'm thankful that I stayed in this chair and I got this out, even though I wasn't really feeling it and I was feeling self-conscious. I love you. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll talk soon.